Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us at the Profitable Business Mindset Summit, where we are uncovering ways to jump into your destiny, boost your confidence, and design that life you are so looking for. Today, in this interview, we have LaQuita Munley. LaQuita Munley is the founder and co-founder of Munley Innovations and M5 Realties. She is from Killeen, Texas. I actually had the privilege of meeting her in England, and I'm sure as we get into the interview, she will tell us all about it. Hi, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hi, Sam. I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Good. So I just gave us a little bit about you in your bio. So can you tell us a little bit about LaQuita?
Oh, wow. Well, let's see. I am married. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We've been together for 20 plus years. I'm trying not to date myself too much right there. We have 5 amazing kids and 4 beautiful grandchildren. Some might consider me a serial entrepreneur because I love the entrepreneurship space. I'm a military spouse. My husband spent 24 years active duty Army in the U.S. Army. And through his career, we've had the opportunity to live across the U.S. and also into 2 foreign countries, which, as you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is where I met you.
Yes. Thank God we met. So,
yes. Yes.
So you told us a little bit about you. So how about your businesses, the Munley Innovations and M5 Realty?
Well, Munley Innovations is what I believe is a phenomenal business, not just because it's my business, but when it was presented to me, it hit a place within me as a military spouse that was vitally important. And what we do at Munley Innovations, we are partnered with a major platform called Arise Virtual Solutions. And through that partnership with Arise Virtual Solutions, I'm able to hire individuals as independent contractors answering inbound customer service calls right from the convenience of their own home. And with those inbound calls, we're not the people that annoy you and say, hey, your car warranty is expired. We are actually partnered with the major company, and our client companies are some of America's top performing companies, and our agents answer those inbound customer service calls for those companies.
Right. So what about the M5? How did that come about as well?
Oh my word. So M5 is a story, but M5 has an amazing story that actually starts in 2000. So it's like it's been 19 years in the making. And we bless God for the journey. I guess the short of that story is, at that point in our life, we were stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington. We had 4 children. And at that time, my husband's rank at that time didn't afford us a lot of money sent. And because we had small stair-step children, it wasn't economically feasible for me to work outside of the home.
Right.
And so every day, money was a topic of conversation. How much we didn't have, how much we still needed, and how we were going to get it. And my husband and I love to watch sitcoms. And every night after our sitcoms were over, we would look at some infomercials. And there was this infomercial used to come on all the time about real estate investing and how real estate investing can change your life, and how you can do real estate investing with no money, no credit, no experience. And over a course of time, we watched that infomercial, wanting to buy that program and not having enough money to buy that program.
Right.
So eventually the year would go on, and we would get to the place where actually more than a year went on. We purchased the program probably 2 years after watching the infomercial. We overcame an initial fear. the fear of spending the money and it not working. We overcame that fear, used our tax return to buy the program. My husband went on his first deployment. He entrusted me to learn the program. And I jumped in head first. An opportunity presented itself. I used the program to purchase a property, not for investment, but for us to live in, because at that time, we had no money, no credit, but we wanted a house.
Right.
We didn't want to live in government quarters. We didn't want to pay rent. We wanted to own our own home. And so it failed, and it failed miserably. It failed so miserably. And it wasn't the program that failed. It was me, us not having enough money to buy the complete program.
Right.
And me not following through and having the right relationship with people to help me go through the process of the program. And so we ended up homeless.
Wow.
For a minute. Wow. And I say a minute only because it was like for that day.
Yeah.
When it all blew up. Yeah. The owners of the home came back, got it. We couldn't get our money back, had nowhere to go. My husband had just come home from his first deployment. And here we are, our first journey as real estate investors and new homeowners, and we end up no money and no home.
Right.
You know, but the Lord is faithful, and He provided a way of escape, and we ended up being able to move into government quarters the next day, which, you know, I won't bore everybody with those details, but that's just at that time, that's not how that worked. Yeah. The military today is different, but at that time, that is not how that worked at my husband's rank. And because it wasn't an emergency that was outside of our control, it was something we created. So we had to overcome some more fears, but real estate was still our passion. We went a different route in our entrepreneurship journey, learned more, surrounded ourselves with mentors, and really listened to them instead of trying to be a one-man show. And so we went from being homeless in 2004 to buying our first apartment in 2008. We bought an apartment complex in 2008. And now in 2019, we own over 9 properties and single family homes and a mobile home park in the state of Mississippi.
Wow. You said some key things there. So like you were talking about getting over those fears and your journey on entrepreneurship. So for people who are watching who would like to get started, you know, you do have to overcome certain barriers in order to entry. And like you said, you failed, but you were still able to come back. That failure didn't hold you. So what do you believe are some of those beliefs, that limiting beliefs that we have to get over in order to accomplish the goals that we so desire?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So just some of the limiting beliefs that we have is being stuck in one mode of thinking, that there's only one way, or the way that I've, you know, desired in my heart. That's the way it's got to be done. That's the only way it can be done. And I've got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be flexible. You have to be open-minded. Whatever your plan is, you have to be willing to let that plan be adjusted.
Yes.
You have to be willing to be critiqued by others who are successful in the space that you want to enter into. And you can't be a one-man show.
Yeah.
You have to invite people into your space, the right people into your space that can pour into you. And you have to be open to receive that and then implement the things, the wisdom that you've been given.
Yeah. So how do you get on that journey of connection, of that? Because I believe we're all here for that connection, that our destiny, our future, our way forward is tied up to a man. So in order to receive that, how do we get to that point? If you can give us like one tip on how to cross over to that trusting that what they said they're going to do, they're going to do. And like you said, surrounding yourself with positive people who pour into you. Because a lot of times we surround ourselves with negative people who actually take away. And so then you put up that defense barrier. Okay, this person is just taking away from me. I don't no longer want to do that. So how do we bring in people who will support us in the goals that we're trying to achieve?
Wow, like, I don't want to sound like a telemarketer, but that's another amazing question, right? And I am glad you asked. So if I can answer that by telling a personal story, I think it'll be easier for me to explain it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody deals with different types of fears in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, success has intimidated me over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But at this place where I met my mentor, I was really at a place where in my heart and in my mind, becoming a successful businesswoman, me and my husband having our own business and being successful, our family being successful, that became my driving passion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what woke me up in the morning. That's what made
Mm-hmm.
me get through my days,
Mm-hmm.
whatever information I can find.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you make up in your mind, you get to that place where you made up in your mind that success, however you defined it, whether it's in the entrepreneurial space, whether it's, getting that next promotion at your job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Those things that you desire, you will attract it. You will attract it, knowingly or unknowingly, but you'll attract it.
Right.
Mostly because you begin to put yourself in the spaces where those people who can help you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a dear friend of mine, and she's actually my pastor,
Mm-hmm.
Her and her husband, at the time when I met them, they owned 2 businesses. And one of the businesses that they owned, so in meeting Danielle, instead of being intimidated by her success, and not comparing myself to her,
Right.
I just determined that I wanted to get to know her as a person, because she was walking in the level of success that I wanted. And
Right.
I needed her to help me by telling me how she did what she did.
Right.
And so one day I was paying for my hairdo, and I asked her, I said, hey, I really love what you guys are doing here with your business. I don't want to have this type of business, but I want to be a businesswoman. I'm a mom, my husband's a soldier, and those things we had in common.
Yeah.
But at that time, I had not completed my degree. So that was a fear factor for me. I mean, like I said, we had no money, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you know what? The first step was to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And since I wasn't working at the time,
Mm-hmm.
she said, she gave me her times where she was the least busy.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, on the days that you can, if you come down here, I'll answer whatever questions you have.
Wow.
And so I learned so much from her.
Mm-hmm.
I even learned what questions I want to ask, because sometimes we know what we want to do and people open themselves up for us to ask questions to, but we don't even know what questions to ask.
Uh-huh.
And so me simply being there in that space with her at her business, watching how she interacted with customers, watching how she interacted with the vendors that wanted her business, whether it was POS vendors, suppliers, or whatever it was, watching how she interacted with them and just doing different things. And I find myself would go down there and say it would be 1:00 and I might not leave until her shop closed. Just asking questions and learning how business worked and how business people work. And from that day, from 2002 until today, she's has been and still is a major influence in my life and what I consider a mentor. And so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
You have to develop a relationship with the people who can help you. And in developing that relationship, getting to know her as a person and she getting to know me as a person, it was just a natural progression that she began to help me to become a businesswoman, the businesswoman that I desired to be.
Right, right. And I hope our audience can really hear what you're saying, how important it is to on take that partnership, that mentorship, that coaching with someone who is going where you want to go. Because a lot of times we like to try to recreate the wheel or
Mhm.
do it this new way or do it. But meanwhile, there's people that have done it and they're doing it successfully over and over again.
Over and
So
over
it's
again.
no need to try to go back and recreate anything. Just take their lead and go with them. That's why
Yes.
having someone that's where you want to be, and like you were doing, asking them questions and following them is such a great tactic in succeeding and being successful.
Right, right. You know, our relationship, and if I think on it now, it was like an internship, as it were, or an apprenticeship.
Uh-huh.
Again, I had no desire to own a salon. I have no desire to own a salon or clothing boutique or
Uh-huh.
any of the other businesses that she had,
Mm-hmm.
has had.
Mm-hmm.
But the mindset that it takes to be successful in the business world, I needed that. I wanted that. And that is what she gave me. And still, as I said, still continues to do, because those types of relationships and mentorships, they don't go away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't go away. Yeah.
Yeah. Everlasting friendships. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so on that note, speaking of businesses, how do you decide decisions in your businesses? As you said, you're a serial entrepreneur. You like to create business, start businesses over and over again. So how do you come to that decision that this would be a good move for me and my husband, my family? How do you come to that?
Well, when the ideas come,
Mm-hmm.
and they come often,
Uh,
I write them down.
mhm.
I ponder over the process to get there.
Right.
And if it is viable, if it's tangible, because sometimes every great idea isn't for you in that moment or isn't for you at
At all.
all.
Uh-huh.
It may be a great idea for someone else. Doesn't mean it's not a great business idea, but
Mhm.
it might not fit your current situation or circumstance, or, it might not be something that's attainable for you in that moment.
Yeah.
So Ben and I will have a family meeting,
Mhm.
especially if it's something that's going to bring all of our children in. We'll
Mhm.
have a family meeting. He and I will talk about it over a course of time, and we'll take that thought and develop a vision. And then if we're in agreement on that vision and we think we can run with that, then we take the time to begin to write that vision out into a plan. And when we've come up with what we think is a decent plan, we present it to our children. We have a family group chat,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we'll talk about it and
Mhm.
who's going to be doing what, when, where, and how, and
Mhm.
how can we make this thing work. And we plan it out and we talk about it until it's time